It is 7, but we will give it just 2 or 3 more minutes to let some other members join and perhaps members of the public as well. Well, it's 7:03, so why don't we go ahead and get started? We do have a quorum here. So thank you all for joining us. I'm Andrew McNichol, staff planner. You're here tonight for the ZBA public hearing of March 4th, 2021. I'd like to introduce the board members, starting with Nick Pernice, Jamie Mon, new members Alex Normandin and Chris Emilius. So welcome you both to the zoning board. And also with me from staff is Building Inspector Glenn Redmond. So thank you all for joining us tonight.
Excuse me, Andrew. I just also wanted to welcome Chris and Alex. Are you associate members or full members?
I'm an associate member.
Likewise.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
I don't really understand the difference between those two, but maybe later you guys can explain that, but it's associate.
Yeah, we can certainly explain that in other business.
I'll take a shot at it since I was an associate, and Andrew, you and Nick can correct me, but associates are non-voting members unless you're standing in for someone and you're needed for a quorum, in which case one of you or both of you can then become voting members. And the way the bylaws are written is that the associate member that has been an associate member the longest is the first one to fill in. But I think tonight we need both of you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yes, Jamie just about nailed that. And I'm happy to explain more in other business, but I just wanted to start off by explaining the procedures that will follow for tonight's Zoom hearing. So we'll follow our standard ZBA practice that will introduce the applicants and they will discuss their proposal with the board. The board will then go back for question and comment, and then public comment will open if there are members of the public who wish to speak. We ask that you use the raise hand feature in the Zoom program, or simply raise your hand. I can see you all, and then we'll call on you when appropriate. Please also introduce yourself, name and address for minutes keeping and record wise. So I can finally then say that this meeting is being broadcasted by RCTV and also recorded. So please don't use the chat feature as we are in a public hearing. Unless you are having technical difficulties, you can reach out to me in the chat or through email. I am available and I have it open. So with that, I know we're a bit short on members, so right now, so Chris and Alex, you might be thrown right into the fire, and hopefully Bob and Cindy can join us within a few minutes. Bob let me know that he seems to be having trouble with the Zoom, so hopefully he can work that out and join us shortly. But anyways, Nick, as vice chair, if you don't mind stepping in and getting this started, we can go ahead and begin.
Sure, thank you, Andrew. First off, welcome Alex and Chris to the ZBA. As it stands right now, you'll be voting members. So trial by fire. So I'll start by reading the legal notice for case 2001. Andrew, we'll start with that one. Does that sound good? All right. So the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing through remote and online measures today, Thursday, March 4th, 2021 at 7 p.m. on the application of Peter and Pat Shields. Hold on 1 second. Thanks, Andrew. Pursuant to Reading zoning bylaws section 4.5.2, 6.3, and 7.4, as may be determined by the zoning board, to build a covered entryway with platform stairs that would increase the lot coverage to 25.9%, where 25% is allowed on the property located at 31 Randall Road in Reading, Massachusetts. Unless there's an objection, I will dispense with the reading of the abutters list, except to say that the abutters were notified, as were the following: Select Board, Police Department, Building Department, Health Department, Engineering Division, members and associate members of the Board of Appeals, Town Clerk, Fire Department, Conservation Commission, Assessor's Office, and CPDC, as well as the planning boards of Wakefield, North Reading, Woburn, Linfield, Stoneham, and Wilmington. Testimony given before this board is taken under oath, so if anyone tonight thinks they may wish to speak on their screen, just please raise your right hand right now and repeat after me. I swear that the testimony given by me before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The response is I do.
I do.
Thank you, everybody. So the first case, I guess, Glenn, do you have anything you want to say about this particular case?
No, obviously it's over the 25%. That's why the permit was denied, and that's why we're before the ZBA.
All right, understood. So as it stands, even before this proposed addition, it was over the 25%.
Yes.
Great. So would the applicant like to introduce themselves in this project before the board?
Sure. My name is Jack Sullivan. I'm the engineer for the project, and I'm here to represent the homeowners, Peter and Patricia Shields. They reside at 31 Randall Road, and they've been owners of this property since 1975. The reason they're coming before you tonight, they have an existing platform and steps on the front side of the house that tend to ice in the winter. They get limited sunlight in that area. It's become a safety issue, both in their 80s. And I know Patricia had knee replacement surgery. There's a safety concern getting in and out of the house with the ice condition with the platform now. So in the area that you see the existing platform and steps, they'd like to put in a 6.5 by 7 foot wide enclosed portico. There'd be a 4x4 platform and then a set of steps coming off of that. You can see from the plot plan that was submitted that it meets the front, side, and rear yard setbacks. We're only here tonight due to the lot coverage. Going through the variance criteria, we're tasked with, there's 4 criteria that we need to discuss. The first one, describing the circumstances relating to the soil condition, shape, or topography, which would especially affect the land or structure. In this case, we don't have an issue with soils. It's a flat lot, so we don't have anything with topography, and you can see from my plot plan, the lot's rectangular. But what I'd like to point out to the board is this lot is 80 by 110 feet. It's 8,800 square feet. We're in the S15 district, which requires a minimum 15,000 square feet for lot size. So this lot is 41% smaller than the minimum lot size requirement now for this zoning district. It's a pre-existing non-conforming lot. So I even discussed with the homeowners if we could pick up a little land from one of the abutting property owners and increase their lot size and have to come in for the variance. But if you look at all the surrounding properties, they're all 80 by 110. They're all 8,800 square foot lots. So there's no ability, if we took land from any of the other abutters, it would make them more non-conforming and they'd require a variance. They wouldn't get because you're creating the hardship. So that I'm making the case that their hardship is really due to the lot size, and it makes sense. We're not looking for a dimensional setback to front, side, rear, height. We meet all those requirements. It's really just lot coverage, and the lot coverage is directly derived from your lot size, where we're 41% smaller than the required 15,000 square feet in this area. We're not overburdening this lot. There is a drain easement on one side, I guess you could say, but there's sometimes easements impact properties. In this case, the easement doesn't impact where the portico, platform, and steps are going. As one member stated when they read this, the existing coverage on this lot was 25%, and the proposed coverage is 25.9. You can see from the plan, it doesn't look overburdened. It's a smaller home. It's not a large home. The deck counts against lot coverage, so I included the deck in the home. So I think from a hardship point, I'm hoping the board can look at lot size as one of a criteria for granting relief for this. Number 2, describe how the literal enforcement of the provisions of the zoning ordinance relating to the circumstances especially affecting the land and structure in question would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner. That goes back to my introduction where I stated this is a safety concern. That's the hardship. They have a great concern. It causes a lot of distress in the winter. If they have any guests come to their homes, the icing condition problem. The portico will allow someone to come in before they come into the main house. It's protected. It's an area where there's some protection for their safety. Number 3, describe how desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. Well, as you can see, the platform and steps already exist basically in the location of the portico. So we think it's going to be an improvement. It'll be fitting with the neighborhood. Again, safety, it's fitting with the area, so that it's not going to take away from any of the surrounding properties. In fact, we think it's an improvement overall to the neighborhood. Number 4, describe how desirable relief may be granted without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance of the town of Reading. Well, the intent of the zoning is to limit bulk density on projects, and you do in your zoning have 25% building coverage, as Glenn stated. We're over that now. We're going to be over it, but we're only over by less than 1%. And if you compare existing condition to the proposed condition, it's 0.5%. And on an 8,800 square foot lot, 0.5% is very marginal. It is a very marginal increase We're not looking for a huge grant of relief. This is really the minimum size that can be put in and satisfy what they want to do here. So we didn't design anything that would be larger than they need. In fact, and it fits with the house. They did have an architect prepare plans. And I just want to, they've been there since 1975. They want to stay in this home. It's really a safety issue, but I know as dealing with this board in the past, you have to have a hardship. It's really just lot size. We're an undersized lot in the S15 district. I'll turn it back to the commission and I'll try to, to the board, and I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
You're on mute, Nick. You're on mute.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Jack, for going over that variance criteria and going more into what was on the application. So I'm going to go around the board. Chris, if you want to start, I'd like to hear your thoughts. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but please feel free.
So Jack, right now the lot is at 25.4%. Is that what you said? And right now, so it's already above the 25.
That's correct.
So you were going at, that's your 0.5% to 25.9.
That's right.
Okay. And I saw in this architect's sketching there's going to be a hand railing.
Correct.
Okay. That's really all I have, Nick. I just want to make sure it's already above the 25.
Yep.
And it's for safety issues. So that's my points only.
Great. Thank you, Chris. I should have mentioned this earlier, but for the board to pass this, we would need, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, 4 out of 5 votes for a variance. If this were a special permit, we would only need 3 out of 5 voting members. With the variance criteria, the applicant also has to meet all 4. If the applicant falls short of meeting 1, they don't meet all 4 criteria. So we'll go to Alex. Alex, anything you would like to add or ask the applicant?
Jack, the only question I had, so it's going to occupy the same footprint as the existing concrete stairs?
It's slightly larger. It's in the same area, but the portico will be slightly larger than the platform and steps that exist there now.
Yep, the roof overhangs
Yeah.
it. Is that what
Yeah.
it is?
Yeah.
But that's the only question I had. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Alex. Cynthia, I think you're on here.
Yeah, sorry, I finally got on my computer. I was on the phone earlier. Yeah, I just have a question because I know that the primary concern is safety and ice and so on, but won't the stairs go out to the side, right? And they're not covered. So don't you still have the safety issue anyway, no matter what?
They'd still have to deal with potential icing on that steps and platform, but it gives them a spot now before going into the main house, that there'd be some protection. And right now there's nothing. It's just open. It's just wide open. You'd still need a set of steps. They need a platform because when you approach the portico, there'll be a door there. So you need a platform on the exit. But it would be an improved safety feature. There'd still be some maintenance in the winter season. They still would have to treat the platform and steps, but it would improve the situation.
Okay, understood.
Great. Anything else, Cynthia? You good?
Nope, I'm set, thanks.
Great, thanks. So Jack, what Cynthia brought up about the door, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like there's not enough adequate clearance to safely gain a footing, I would say, on the platform and open the door.
That's the case now with the existing platform. And I just talked to the owners before tonight. It's been iced over all season. They have tremendous problems, and there's no ability to safely stay on that platform while you open the door.
Great. And Jamie, you're up. Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I have I'm going to share my screen. At least I think I am. Not that I don't trust Jack, but I did the calculations myself also, and Jack and I came up with the same numbers
All right.
as far as the percentage. So I think really it's not a problem of too much coverage of the lot. It's that the lot's too small. So if this development had been built in conformance with current zoning, you could build a house 3,700 square feet, and they are at a fraction of that. So I think that although it might in the strictest sense be over the percent coverage, I really don't think it is. I think it is in conformance with the intent, which is one of the criteria that they've pointed out. So it's again, Jack, you and I came up with the same number of 0.5% increase, which is minimal. I do have one question though. That drainage easement, is half of it on this lot and half of it on the adjacent lot?
Yes,
And that half that's on this lot is included in that 80 by 110, correct?
correct. Yep. So half of it. So it's 10 by 110.
Right. Okay. And it looks like that drainage easement now, or your driveway is over that drainage easement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I fully support this. I mean, for the safety reasons, but just the fact that the lot is under current zoning, and then zoning was come in and passed on top of the lot that was already built. And so I fully support this application,
Great, thank
and
you.
and commend Jack on his calculations. I'm glad to see you're up.
I'm glad we matched.
So I believe, Andrew, we'll open it up to the board. I mean, the public right now. Is there anyone from the public tonight that wishes to speak?
Seeing none.
All right. So I'll just give my thoughts on this. Jack, I think you hit the nail on the head about the minimum lot size being in the 8,000 square foot when the minimum right now for that district is 15,000. I would say it's an unusually small lot for that district, and as a result, it's detrimental to the having a being within the lot size, the minimum lot size. It's a pretty modest home, and because of the safety issues, I think this is something to be taken seriously. When you go through the variance criteria, I think because of that, being a modest sized home on a small lot, I think you meet that. I think you also meet criteria 2 for the safety reasons, and 3 and 4 because I don't think this is detrimental to the neighborhood. And then basically, I just want to remind the board and the new members, in section 1 of the zoning bylaws, the very first bullet point of zoning and having the ZBA and the zoning regulations is to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants of the town of Reading. I mean, pretty much so long as what's being proposed isn't detrimental to the neighborhood, which is at the discretion of the ZBA. So that's my thoughts. So with that, Andrew, I think are we ready to open it up to a vote?
The public might have some comments, Nick.
I thought I opened it up to the public, but thank you, Jamie. If there is anyone from the public that would like to speak, please make yourself known.
I think we can close public comment.
All right.
And yep, we can entertain a motion. I suppose I would ask one of the more experienced board members to make that motion.
All right.
I move that we accept the variance for 131. Did I get the number right, Rendell? Is that the right address?
You
31.
said
31.
131 and it's 31.
31 Rendell, as specified in the application. Yes, 31 Rendell's as specified in the application dated January 26, 2021, and on file.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. And Nick, if you could just do roll call vote.
Sure thing, Andrew. All right. Let's see here. Cynthia? Just unmute yourself real quick.
Sorry, I say aye.
All right, aye. Alex?
You said aye.
You did aye? Okay, sorry. So, Chris?
Aye.
All right. Jamie?
Aye.
And I vote aye myself. So it passes. And
All right, Jack, we'll get you a copy of the decision and stamped plans as soon as we can.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
thank you, everyone.
thank you.
All right,
Take care,
have a
Jack.
good night.
Yep.
Good night.
All right, so the next application before the board is 18 Hensley Street. And I'll just read the legal notice for that real quick. Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing for remote and online measures on Thursday, March 4th, 2021 at 7 on the application of Rod pursuant to MGL Chapter 48, Section 10 for a variance under Reading Bylaw Sections 4.5.2, 6.0, and 6.3, as may be determined by the zoning board to build a covered entryway with stairs with a non-conforming front yard setback on the property located at 18 Hensley Street in Reading. Everyone's already been sworn in that wishes to speak, so we'll just open it up and we'll start with the applicant. They want to explain this project to the board, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rod Rivera. I'm the construction supervisor, also the designer for this project. And I'm speaking on behalf of the owners of the property. The purpose of the original plan was to remove the existing decks that's there now and just extend it the whole width of, which is like 16 feet up to the retaining wall where their driveway goes into the garage, which is slopes into the house. So we try to request that width was okay, but the depth to the property was a problem to the inspector. So I redrew it for 6 foot, but the homeowner decided that they wanted that 8 foot, which is only 2 feet difference. And that would bring it to 18 feet from the property line when we needed 20. And the whole idea is to give it a different curve of appeal to the property.
Rod, would you like to go through the variance criteria 1 through 4 with the board, please?
Yes. So number 1 would be describe the circumstances relating to the soil condition, shape, and topography. It's not going to change anything because we're not going to disturb the land itself. All we're doing is removing and just putting footings, and we're not going to change any slopes or any shape the land itself. Number 2 would be describe how literally enforcing the provision of the zoning ordinance relating to the circumstances, especially affecting the land or structure. It would not create any hardship, but it will give a new look to the house and basically increase the price value to the property. Number 3 would be describe how desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public. It will not be a detriment to the public. It would be good since it will be an open deck and no items will be kept up permanently. Number 4 would be describe how the desirable relief be granted without any nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent of the purpose of the zoning ordinance of the town of Reading. The intention is to increase the look of the property and the value of the neighborhood.
All right, thank you, Rob. So let's go around the board again. Jamie, would you like to start us off with your thoughts, please?
Yes, thank you, Nick. I do have a couple questions, but I'd like to have a chance to weigh in again at the end after I've heard some of the other members. But the first question I have is, I thought I heard you say, Mr. Rivera, that you looked at extending that the entire width of the front of the house, but then I thought you said you couldn't do that, but I didn't quite understand why you couldn't do that.
No, the width was not a problem. It's the depth of the deck is the problem.
But did you look at extending it, making it wider and making it only 6 feet rather than 8 feet deep?
Yes, I would like to add.
Well, I'll leave that to the homeowner to say his comments.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thank you. I'm Jai Kiran Teri. I'm the owner of the house. So yeah, we did try. Initially, we thought we will try to increase the width, but there is an underground garage which goes in, and on the left-hand side there is a utility meters, so which prohibits us from beyond extending anything into the width. So the only area which we can improve is coming back a little in the front, which is like increase the depth.
Okay, I guess the other thought I have is that I don't see the need, and I don't see it justified when you address the criteria for an 8 foot as opposed to a 6 foot frontage. And I read and I understand that it's only 2 feet, only extends 2 feet into the setback, but 2 feet's 2 feet. And that setback was established for a reason. And the neighbors might want something similar, only they might want 3 feet or 4 feet, and then the next neighbor 5 feet or 6 feet. And before you know it, that setback is gone along the length of the street. So I haven't yet heard anything convincing me that the criteria are met to extend into that setback. And I really don't understand. I see some alternatives that would be in compliance that I don't think have been fully explored or rejected for good reason. But let me turn it over to the rest of the members and hear what their thoughts are.
Thank you, Jamie. Welcome, Bob. Bob, would you like to go next or would you like to go last?
It took me a while to get in. Thank you so much. Yeah, we fooled around with it and got it. Thank you, Nick, for taking over there.
Sure thing.
Okay. I don't know how far you've got along on this, and obviously I missed the first 15 minutes or so of it, half an hour, looks like, yeah. But, so I probably would not vote on this one since I did not hear a lot of it. So why don't you go ahead, Nick? If you want, I could comment. I've reviewed the case and just go as a regular member then and just let you know what my thoughts were on it.
Yeah, actually, we absolutely appreciate your thoughts, Bob. Do you want to let the other members speak and then we'll go back to you?
Sure. Why don't we?
All right. Cynthia, you're up.
Yeah, I'll go. I think I had some of the same questions that were already asked. I guess I just don't understand. I mean, it seems like the applicants already have a deck on the side of their house and also have plenty of room on the other side if they wanted to build another deck. Why does this particular location need, why build it in this particular location in the front of the house that would need a variance, as opposed to any other option you might have? What is it particularly about that? Could Mr. Rivera answer the applicants?
Well, in terms of me, I designed it what the homeowner wanted. So, and the reason why they wanted that is to make that ranch style house look more formal. And by doing the deck that big and the entryway that big, that would give it more of a more modern, or not modern, but more contemporary look, and more a formal house per se. And the reason why he wanted to bump it out more to 2 feet and instead of 6 feet, 8 feet, is because if you leave the walk path open and you have furniture on the side, obviously, you have furniture that's like 6 feet, it won't fit on a, by the time you said and done and it's finished, you're not gonna have furniture to fit in there.
Okay, yeah, I guess I just have just the same issues that were already brought up. I just don't see yet a need, to impede upon the required setback for that reason, but I'm also willing to hear whatever anybody else has to say.
Yep. Thank you, Cynthia. Let's go with Alex. Anything you'd like to comment on or ask the applicant?
I'd say, I have the same comments as Jamie and Cynthia. Reading the application, it's described as an entryway into the house. However, it also seems like there's going to be some recreational and leisure activities there. I would agree that it does, I don't think the application, particularly the hardship, addresses the concern with extending it to the left of the property. Obviously, you can't go over the garage, but I just felt there wasn't a lot of justification for not extending it, the footprint in another direction.
Great. Thank you, Alex.
The homeowners did raise their hands, so if we can just jump to them real quick.
Yeah. So we cannot go in any of the other direction because on the right hand side, as I mentioned, there is a garage, and on the left hand side there is utility meters. So in order for us to actually go over that, we have to relocate the utility meters.
Hi everyone, my name is Sapna. I am the co-owner of this 18 Hensley Street as well. So one of our reasons we wanted to have it at that location was because that's where there isn't the entry, and we do not have any mud room or anything inside the house. So we directly actually enter the living room, and currently we do not have anywhere where we can just clean up the snow, where the kids are running around. And so we wanted to make something that would actually help us to have a smooth entry for us, for kids, for guests that visit. And the other deck that we have, that's going to the sunroom, which is actually not heated. So we generally don't use that during winters. Most of our entry and exit is directly from the main entrance. So the current stairs that we have, they are already dangerous because they are broken and we need to replace them anyways. The walkway we need to replace because it's all broken. So we figured that since we are making an adjustment and we are putting up the front porch, so if we could get a little bit of extra room, so we could just make it a little better. And I mean, I do not know about the neighbors, but I don't feel it's gonna cause any issues or any trouble to anyone, because it's just the land itself is not going to be affected, or no one's going to have issues with it. That's what I feel.
Great, thank you for that. Chris, you're up.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking what Jamie's thinking too. It's the extra 2 feet, and then the next neighbor wants 3 feet and 4 feet, and that's that's kind of tough. And in 6 feet, I understand the issue with the mudroom. We have the same issue actually where we live, lack of mudroom. But you know, I think that it's hard to say why we need to justify the extra 2 feet. I guess that's kind of where I'm going. You know, a mudroom 6 feet wide is as good as a mudroom 8 feet wide, and it's hard to get past the 4 variance criteria. You know, in this situation. So I'm kind of leaning the same way that, you know, I'm hearing Jamie and Cynthia and Alex. You know, it's this one's kind of tough to justify through again, you know, at least some of the 4 requirements, the criteria.
Thank you, Chris. You're absolutely right. Variance is very hard to get, harder than a special permit, and there's reasons for that in the zoning bylaws. I'll just go over just a few of the criteria that I don't think the applicant met. The uniqueness, number one, of the soil conditions, the shape or topography, and more importantly, I don't think personally that the applicant met the hardship criteria, where there's a substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner. So I think with that, I also just want to remind the new board members as well. There'll be cases where personally, I personally, I don't see a problem with this, but it's not my personal decision. We're here to enforce the bylaws, and the bylaws have these 4 criterias, and if the applicant doesn't meet even just one of them, they don't meet all 4 to get the application passed. So I'll go to Robert. You're up.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Sorry to come in late on this, to the fellow board members and to the applicant on this particular case. I did catch, and I heard some of the comments on this, and I would have to agree with the comments that I've heard so far. I went through this, looked at it, and what you have here is a structure, a dwelling now that is fully in conformance with the zoning bylaws. And now you're asking for a variance to make it a non-conforming structure by constructing a porch that's 8 feet wide in front, or a deck, what you want to call it. Looking at the variance criteria, just because somebody would like something or wants to have something for their enjoyment does not mean that you can get it via a variance. You have to have a very good reason, and there's 4 particular reasons in the variance criteria that you have to meet. One of them is the reason is you can't build it, or you can't have it somewhere else on your property, say because of the topography, rock outcropping, wetlands, anything like that. And I don't think this particular case, you would have that at all. From what I saw in the reasons, it's just that we would like it. We would like to enjoy it 8 feet wide. Now, the first thought I had when I looked at this, and I think I agree with Mr. Malone on the board, was that why don't you cut it back to 6 feet? It's you know, 50% wider than what you had before at 6 feet. You had a 4-foot one. You're adding 2 feet. That's 50% wider. I think a 6-foot front porch would be acceptable. You would not need any type of variance or special permit to do that. And, you know, it might be a little tight there, but still, you would not need it. And you could do the 6-foot thing. Now, I'm thinking a typical room in a house might be 12 by 12, 10 by 12. So that's like half the width of a room in your house, and I think you have sufficient room to put some deck chairs there. You maybe couldn't put a lounge chair, but you could have deck chairs out there, something like that, and have a small farmer's porch. So I would have to agree with a lot of the comments that I heard, that I certainly couldn't support a variance on this particular case, going 2 feet into the setback, the 20-foot setback. That's a 10% overlap into the setback. And I just don't see that at all. So that's basically what I see on that. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Bob. So at this point, is there anything else any of the board members would like to say before we open it up to public comment? All right, hearing none. Is there anyone from the public here tonight that would like to speak? All right,
I see none.
okay, and do you want to give the applicant another opportunity to speak as well, Andrew? That sound good?
Please.
Okay.
Rod or the family, did you have any other closing comments?
No,
I mean, I do not have. Actually, this is our first time we are actually applying for a variance, so the whole thing is overwhelming for us. But I guess it's a learning experience, and maybe it'll be better next time. That's what I would
Okay.
say. But thank
Nick,
all
do you
for
just mind
the-
explaining their options to them?
Absolutely. So thank you for coming tonight to present your proposal. You have two options at this point. You heard what the board members had to say tonight, what they're thinking, how they're leaning. To get a variance, you need 4 out of the 5 members to say yes. That's one option. You could have us vote. The other option is you can withdraw your application without prejudice. And Andrew, do you want to explain what the without prejudice withdrawal means?
Yes. So if you were to go forward with a vote tonight and it was not approved with 4 voting members, you would not be able to apply to the zoning board for the application or substantially similar again for about 2 years, I believe. If you ask to withdraw without prejudice, you are free to go back to the drawing board and revise the plans and either potentially come back here with a new set of plans or make it conforming so that you don't need ZBA approval. So that gives you the flexibility to do so immediately instead of years from now.
Yeah, we would like to withdraw.
All right.
Can we just get a motion for that?
Um,
Cindy, if you don't mind.
Sure, I'll move to accept the withdrawal by the applicants for the application dated December 2nd, 2020. Excuse me, for the variance and the setback for 18 Henzy Street.
I second the motion.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, so we'll do a roll call. Bob, are you going to be voting on this application or?
Andrew, but as I say, I came in late at the meeting, but if you thought it would be valid, it's fine.
I do agree with Bob's first take that if he missed some of the discussion, we might want to go to the other members.
I think I see we have some additional members here tonight, and maybe that would be the time to employ them.
Yep, I agree.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, Alex.
Yep, and just want to clarify because this is my first time, and I vote will be accepting the motion to withdraw.
Correct.
Yes, okay. I vote aye.
Got it. Jamie?
Aye.
Cynthia?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Did I miss anyone?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right.
All right, so we will file a decision with you guys and get it to you guys as soon as we can, just to note that withdrawal. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good one.
you.
Yeah, bye.
All right, Andrew, I didn't see any minutes on the agenda, so I don't think we have any.
We did have some minutes on
Oh,
the agenda.
Yeah.
So Amanda had gone back through some of the minutes that were approved and just looking for record keeping, and we noticed that the July minutes were accidentally missed, must have been missed on an agenda or something. So we included those on the agenda for review and approval, and then the October 8th minutes as well will need to be
Right.
voted on and approved. I can pull up
Okay.
the July minutes here. So it was a long time ago now, but if you guys
Several of
have
us were not members then.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I went through them, Andrew. This is Robert, and I actually I thought it was a very good job in putting the minutes together there. I did not have a comment on the July minutes at all.
Thank you. Much
Oh,
appreciated.
Andrew, I submitted some comments on the Google Doc or one. I don't know if they show up there or not.
I don't think they did. Don't recall seeing such.
Okay, if you'll let me share my screen, I can
Yep.
show you, I think, what let me see, which set are we looking at now?
July 15th, 2020.
July 15th. Okay, let me see if I can show you what I had. Now I thought, let me try again. Okay. Maybe it's the July 15th. Okay, it's on page 4 at the bottom of the paragraph that begins, I had, oh, wait a minute. No, Mr. Mon asked if the existing structures exceeded 25%. It's on page 4. You see that paragraph?
Yep.
Yeah.
There is a sentence fragment or worse in there that says Mr. Mon asked what a special permit is required for then. I'm not sure I said that, or if I did, I'm not sure it makes sense. So I would delete that phrase or that sentence fragment.
I actually read that as Mr. Mon asked what a special permit is required for then.
That's
Right,
the way
I guess
Oh.
that was the
You need the
intent.
inflection.
Ah,
We could say
Great.
why a special permit is required for the application. I believe that was what you were asking.
what was that question answered?
I believe it was. Perhaps this name is wrong here. I believe this should be Mr. Griffin. So it should be Mr. Griffin clarified the proposal.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy. I'm glad somebody understands what I said, because I don't.
I used to work in radio. I'm used to reading things out loud.
Okay, then I guess we can leave it. I am curious though, if I make those changes in Google Docs, shouldn't they show up?
Did you send the Google Doc? We don't typically send these in a Google Drive. We forward them to you by email. So you probably have to send either the Drive link or an attachment.
Okay, what I will do in the future then is just edit, if I have any thoughts, I'll edit the Word doc and send it back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, that would probably be easiest for our process.
Okay,
Thank you.
then I have no, I didn't have anything else on that.
Great.
Okay, thank you. If everybody's comfortable, and I know Nick's chairing the meeting, but I would go ahead and make a motion then that the board accept the minutes of July 15th, 2020 as written.
Sorry, can we do as amended? I made some changes based on Jamie's comments.
Okay. As amended then. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. And all those in favor of the motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm aye.
Jane, I wasn't
Cindy?
there.
It's okay, you guys can still
And-
vote.
And the new board members, well, they weren't here, so. But
All right, and if we could quickly do the October 8th minutes, if anyone has any comments, I'll share on the screen.
Yeah.
Shout them out, got them.
I had no comments on that either, Andrew. I was comfortable with it.
Can I just say, I don't care enough about this to actually need to amend this, but it's either Cynthia or Cindy, and Cindy is fine. But if you're going to do Cindy, it's spelled C-Y-N-D-E,
Gotcha.
not C-I-N-D-Y.
See it there.
Okay.
Anybody else have any?
I'm good with the minutes.
All right.
I'm fine, you too, and I will go ahead then and make a motion to accept the minutes of October 8th, 2020. As
I'll
written.
second. Whoops, sorry. I'll
Thank you.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nick, aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
All right, so that about does it for our agenda. I do have just a quick update for you guys planning wise. As you know, the Community Planning and Development Commission, the Planning Board, typically does zoning amendment changes for town meeting. So 2 updates on that, and that is one, at April town meeting, we'll be discussing the zoning amendment for outdoor commerce, dining, programming, or storage, and that will allow businesses to use their outdoor spaces in a more flexible way for outdoor dining or programming like fitness and more, or outdoor sales in any fashion. So that'll be done through minor site plan review through the CPDC, but it will be at April town meeting. And if you guys have any questions or comments on it, just let me know. It shouldn't have truly affect the zoning board, but it's in the zoning bylaw, so you guys should be aware of it. And then second is that
Excuse me, Andrew, but this does not cover use of public space for outdoor dining.
correct. If this is private space on private property to use, say their parking lot or other open area, if they happen to have any sort of yard or just unused area currently. So all public applications will be done by the select board or town staff. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the answer.
The second update is just that we are already looking ahead to November 2021 town meeting for zoning amendments, or perhaps April 2022 if it takes that long. But there was an instructional motion in November for the CPDC to look at the 40R bylaw, specifically as it relates to lot coverage and open space. But the CPDC is going to take a much more holistic look at the 40R bylaw in terms of those dimensional requirements for setbacks and lot coverage, but also for the parking requirements for the zoning district and a few others. We'll be holding a zoning workshop on Monday, March 29th at 7:30 p.m. with the CPDC. So if you guys are at all interested in what we may be proposing there, and if you have any ideas or thoughts that you would like to see for the area, downtown area, please do come, and we'll probably do a bunch of breakout groups to discuss certain areas of the bylaw and try to get as much feedback from businesses, town meeting members, board members, and the public alike. So Just again, that's March 29th if you're at all interested. So
And Andrew, that review is exclusive to 40R. It's not any other aspects of the zoning bylaws, correct?
correct. We are looking at other areas to update, such as the floodplain bylaw to bring us in regulation with state requirements and new language. We may potentially be looking at site plan review triggers as well, but the zoning workshop will specifically focus on the 40R bylaw aspect of it. And that's it from me. So if there's no other questions.
Okay. Andrew, can I ask a question? I came in late.
Yep,
What happened to case number 21-01?
that was approved.
That was approved. Okay. Very good.
So Bob, we'll be in touch with you probably Monday to get some copy of the signed decisions from Jamie and Cindy. I can send you guys templates to draft those up quickly. And then we'll look to coordinate with you, Bob, for signatures. And
Actually, Andrew, I am going to be out of town and tied up for a while. So if perhaps you could give me a pass this week, I'd appreciate it.
no problem. I can draft it up.
That's what I was going to ask. Have we assigned who's going to write these yet?
It is now me and Cindy. Cindy will do the withdrawal
Okay.
and I'll do the variance.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. And what's on the schedule for zoning board meetings upcoming? Do we have anything for, what would it be, March 18th?
So we have nothing for March 18th. We just received an application for review, and on Monday, if we can confirm that it is complete, we'll look to schedule that for April 1st. If not, we'll aim for April 15th. So we don't meet till April, and we'll provide you the confirmed date as soon as we can.
Sure thing. Okay.
Andrew, one thing we ought to think about ahead of time, maybe you already have. We almost hit the situation tonight where we had to decide whether or not Alex or Chris were going to be the voting member. It's supposed to be the one that was appointed first. If they were appointed at the same time, do we know how to deal with that?
I'm sure one went before the other, so I will look at the select board minutes unless you guys know off the top of your head here.
I don't know, but Alex, go baby. Go
No,
you.
I was gonna say you must have gone first because you're first alphabetically. So
Good one.
Probably do that. That's a good note, Jamie. Thank you.
Just as a note, piece of trivia, I lobbied at town meeting to have the chair of the board designate which associate member would vote. That way you could rotate. Alice could do it one week and Chris the next to keep everybody involved, but I was outvoted.
Well, that's the way we used to kind of do it, is what Jamie said. When we asked for the vote, and if we needed one of the associates to vote, it was the chair kind of designated which one. I don't know about the kind of the seniority in regards to the associates. Andrew might want to check on that.
I will. I definitely will.
Thank you. Other than that,
that should do it. It was good to see you guys, and welcome Chris and Alex again. If you guys have any questions on the zoning bylaw or processes, reach out to me at any time and I'm happy to help.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, guys. Appreciate it.
thank you.
I'm glad to see the two new members, though I was late coming in. Glad to see we have a couple new ones.
Good first impression, Bob.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
would go ahead and accept a motion to adjourn then. If you're all
I'll
set
move
with
to
that,
adjourn.
Andrew? Okay. We have Cindy
Can we get a
motioning,
second?
and do we have a second?
Jamie?
I second.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.